don't know how much you watched Maddox during the scouting process because whatever position or whatever. But did you ever think before he became a safety here that this is a kid that maybe it could be an NFL safety?
You know, here's one thing I'd say about watching him in college is I love the way he played. There was he played fast, he played hard, he played physical, and then you take those three things and put them together. You always say, well, he's got a chance to play safety, even though he hadn't done it before. The skill set is obviously there, and I love the kid to death because of what he does. I mean, he works hard at it, and he plays extremely hard. And you get that part done, you're halfway there.
At what point did you get him under your umbrella? I mean, like when do you start all of a sudden having him in the meeting room?
I think through training camp, you throw in a few pieces and parts here and there and let him know, hey, you need to know that, you need to know this. But playing nickel is really an extension of a safety position. It's just lining up on the other side of the field. But really getting hands-on was after Rodney went down. And, you know, they really have similar skill set. And it right now looks like a nice fit for him. And he's done a lot of good things the last 2 weeks.
Outside of a few games last year, you've had Malcolm and Rodney throughout your time here. How has that changed things for you during the past few weeks?
I mean, it's nice to have Malcolm and Rodney in there because you know exactly what they're going to do. They know exactly what they're going to do. It adds a little bit of unknown how guys are going to react to certain situations. So the preparation, I think, is more intensified a little bit just for the fact that they need that because they haven't been in those situations before. But I think every single one of them has done a nice job of preparing, being ready to play any spot on the field. And when they get their chance, they go out there and they perform.
From the outside looking in, it stood out that you had Douglas out there as opposed to, say, DeAndre Hall or Trey Sullivan, who played safety all year. What has Douglas done behind the scenes to be ready for that?
Rasul's a smart guy, and he's been in that room for 2 years, and he really understands the defense. And it was a comfort factor that, hey, Rasul's going to go out there and do the right things. And it wasn't so much, you know, he gets reps here and there in practice on the scout team and so forth. We just felt comfortable putting him in that position at that time of the game. We actually, you know, we cross-train those guys all the time. It's not a matter of this is just we throw them out there and say, hey, oh, by the way, you're playing safety. But he did a nice job preparing it wasn't like last week. During the week, we prepared him for that situation. So I think he was ready to go into that situation.
We haven't seen Hall playing games yet, and he hasn't been here that long. What have you seen from him since he's got here?
DeAndre's an athletic guy. He hasn't played a whole lot of football in the NFL, you know, here and there with the Bears. And we're really trying to get him moved into the defense where he feels comfortable with what he's doing rather than just throwing him to the wolves. And we just keep moving him forward. And he's doing a nice job, and we'll see where that leads.
When you guys used the safety over Odell Beckham last week, what kind of stood out with the way you executed and why that worked so well?
You know, it's one of those things, if you put two guys on one guy, hopefully you're going to prevent them from making big plays. So it's something that we haven't done a lot of, but we have done that in the past, and it is part of our defensive scheme, so it wasn't like it was all brand new to these guys going into that week. And I thought they executed the scheme well, even though we don't rep it a whole bunch.
It seems like there's a lot of teams who are trying to get the ball out so quickly against you guys because of your pass rush. How much is that kind of question on how to combat that at the core of some of your discussions and game planning every week?
You know, it's always part of it. We know our D-front is good. We know teams are going to try to get the ball out. And, you know, if they can drive the ball down the field taking 3, 4, 5 yards at a time, so be it. But, you know, we'll try to limit that at times in what we do. And sometimes, depending on the defense they're in, we'll give that up. But we've got different ways to combat that depending on what defense we're in.
Malcolm's obviously one of the most valuable players on this defense in normal circumstances. When you've got people banged up like you do now, does it even increase his value even more because of what you can do with him to kind of
no doubt
bandage?
I mean, we lost 2 veterans in that room for the week or so with Rodney and Corey. And Malcolm is such a figure in that room. Those guys all look up to him, and there's nobody better to learn from. So if they have questions, they can go directly. If they don't feel comfortable asking us a question, they'll ask him that question. And he's very good with them. And he is the leader in that room, that's for sure.
How about
Do you
on the
expect-
field?
Oh, there's no doubt on the field. He's out there. He makes the calls. He gets guys lined up. He knows the defense inside and out. And it really, in my mind as a coach, puts my mind at ease because he is a coach on the field.
Do you expect to have Corey this week?
You know what? That question is for Coach. He can answer that question better than I can.
Hey, Tim, obviously you played this game for a long time. Even 5 years ago, would a guy like Avonte would have been moved back to safety? Has the game changed that dramatically where you need coverage back there more than?
I think so. I mean, I wasn't a big guy playing back there when things were physical and everything. But he is too. That's kind of my point. He has that skill set where it's not all about coverage with him. He is a physical guy. He tackles extremely well. He takes great angles just because his instincts are good. So you put all that together, it doesn't matter what position you're at, whether it's nickel or safety, it's going to be a huge benefit for whoever he's playing for.